Hey everyone, this is my reaction to the 13th and final episode of Yagate Kimi ni Naru, or Bloom Into You. Now, last episode, what happened? Well, for one thing, we had a very nice scene between Yu and Nanami in Yu's bedroom, and I mean, it was a high-quality scene. But I think one of the bigger things to the episode was definitely the fact that Yu made a decision to revise the script a bit, improve the ending, if you will. Because Koyomi also took issue with it, but, we kind of needed Yu, with her unique perspective on the matter, to, help forge it into the proper path, one that's better, So yeah, let's get into it and see how that all pans out. 3, 2, 1, play. I know, the sunlight's horrible. Stop staring at the sun, Toko. It's not good for you. Yeah. But then what? Hopefully when this is all over, you'll be in a better place. Emotionally. That's the question right there. No opening this episode? Where nobody will disturb us. We have important work to do. Not exactly script writing. Got it. You're being slightly cuter than usual. Phrasing, but yeah, I totally remember that. That would be the real challenge when you make sudden changes like that. Okay. What I call dedication there. Proud of you, Koyomi. I think we're okay with that. I mean, I want her to switch roles, but maybe we're not gonna do that. I wonder that as well. Stop staring at your phone and pay attention. That was a very interesting first-person shot we had going on there. Titles can be difficult. Since it's supposed to be a very short thing that encapsulates the entirety of your product, That's why some light novel authors just put the synopsis as the title. It's a lot easier that way. Or customers. Like a table at the back, please. Wow, that was a reaction. Talking about that one guy. Ask the important questions. You gonna give us some insight on him? It was just a very meaningful humph. It's a very interesting back and forth between those two. Yeah, we saw that. And I see that we're continuing to have a lot of these two having time together spent. It was an awkward sentence, but you know what I meant. It's a bold question. I got your drinks, girls, you know, not to interrupt or anything. I just gotta leave now, you know. So much silence. Well, of course. Yeah, that's still a part of her, you know. So I guess we didn't get to hear what she said, if anything, there. Come back. I already miss you. I accidentally misread that as the smell of innocence for a second, but I don't understand the obsession with trains by the author of this, but you don't have to. You've just convinced yourself that you have to. You should probably recognize the difference. Even if you don't actually change what you do, you should still recognize the difference. You could become, you know, you become Yu's waifu for real. No weird strings attached to it. I want to see you. Aitaina. Wow, that was a cute reaction. Okay. Red. But yeah, that was enough of implying that she's considering suicide. I want to get to some more happy Yu Nanami adventures. uh, you know, not to trouble you or anything, but uh, wow, that question came out of nowhere. I mean, it's an important question to ask, I suppose, but that's not what you wanted to hear. Uh, an exception. I don't know if that sounds much better, but uh... I guess she had enough of that. Well, that's not very nice. I see you stretching back there, Boots. To the last stop. But yeah, that was some pretty cute stuff between the two of them. Just especially the little poking. That's probably what really got me. Hey, yes, you and I are together, finally, at Aqua World, where we can find the useless goddess. Oh wow, that sounds amazing. We need to go to that, like all of that. Interesting backpack. Well, I think she just likes spending time with you. With you. Yeah, that's what makes her really excited. Ooh, of course I do. Of course I do. I'm much more excited about the penguins and the dolphins, but... Is that what that is? Looks like an alien. I can't believe you, Senpai. How do you not know that? I still know what you're looking at. You should start getting moving, girls. Yeah, see that? Here we go. Are they? Doesn't seem that filled up, actually. There are plenty of empty seats. I think someone was exaggerating there. Because that's a splash zone. That's a splash zone. I've been to something like this before, except it was a whale. Or a dolphin, I think, but yeah, it's a splash zone. Nah, I think this show will have plenty of you two getting soaked, if for being honest. It depends. If you're lucky enough, you won't get very wet, but if you're unlucky, you can get really wet. Dolphins! That looks like so much fun. Why can't I surf a dolphin? There you go. You're wet now. Are you happy? They did grab one of those. Okay. That's... yeah. Nope, and you doubted them. It's fine. I just love seeing how happy Nanami is. Got plenty to do. You know, why not go to this Disneyland while we're at it? Well, you're gonna have to go to Yamada Susume to do that. Outdoorsy. Like camping? Yeah, because you can't do that, because you'd get in trouble. You know, supposedly. Yeah, actions speak louder than words, so you should probably use actions. That would matter too, but... love is a very complicated thing, okay? Because that's something that would be something that you are doing for yourself, not your sister, so I guess that's what would make it important. She did, it was probably a girl, but... Exactly, I kind of said as much. That eye twitch. I don't know why I thought that was funny, just that was a great eye twitch. Well, we already know she's a very conflicted girl, so... Yeah, kind of. Well, a lot of people are, so... This is a good chance for a kissing scene, just to let you know. That really is a beautiful scenery, too. I would love to just have a snack, you know, and look at that. The aquarium stuff is nice as well. Why not? It's some grade A acting there, Hugh. Yeah, it's not embarrassing, so just go with it, you know? Maybe you can even improv some lines. Maybe improv a kissing or two. Well, just walk it off. Yeah, you're alright. It's a smart idea. Should probably do that. And then choose everyone you like the most. Yeah, you might feel like that, but, you know, probably shouldn't. Flower is very important in this show. Very much true. She only knows Nanami from the high school. That's not true, though. Now there's people around. None watching, though. Okay, we need to wrap this up and go to that, like, right now. Uh, yeah, that wasn't important anyway. Let's just just go. Uh, yeah, she didn't walk too far away. Don't worry. But a bit of a problem. The episode's almost over, and yet we didn't actually do the stage performance yet. So if that's the case, there better be a season 2 like soon. That little snake thingy. That reminds me of the snake thingy from Shimonetta. Of course, that would be special to you. Dolphin! A stingray, manta ray, whatever that is. Are they washing it? That'd be an interesting job to have. Just, you're in charge of scuba diving in there and cleaning up, maintaining it. That's right, just touching your hand. It's a very nice insert song. That's right, she's gonna guide you out from the darkness into the light. Man, that would be so cool to walk through. I really like this song, like, a lot. I like to make sure... I love how they just want to emphasize the fact that they're holding hands and walking together, you know, like a couple might. I like how it says that right before the show ends. We're already here at the exit. Man, somebody's still working hard. Gotta get that script done. Gotta show Maki this one more time before it ends. Oh yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it? How embarrassing. After all those times of seeing trains from the outside, we finally get to go inside one. So what's your title idea? Only you know. Not a bad title, honestly. Maybe not the most creative one ever, but I think it gets the point across. Aw. It's cute. Pretty much. I don't think the Christmas part was actually said, but whatever, it's not a big deal. It really wouldn't. That would be nice. That would be very nice. The shadows are kind of, very much together. Gotta grab those thighs. No, maybe not. No, yep. Okay. The hand's fine too. Okay, we're gonna get one last kiss in before it's over. Well, not on screen at least. We should probably get out now, senpai. Yagate Kimi ni Naru, bloom into you. And yeah, that seems to be the end of the show. Okay, yeah, that was the 13th and final episode of Yagate Kimi ni Naru. And this episode, as an episode itself, it was pretty good, you know. We got to see some fun interactions from our adult Yuri couple, which is always fun, you know. They're enjoyable, especially since one of them's like their teacher, you know, and we get to see kind of a different side of her when she is with Miyako. And yeah, that was some fun stuff. She just out of the blue asked her whether she likes, you know, guys or girls more. I was actually expecting a spit take from that, but we didn't quite get the dramatic spit take I was expecting. But it was still quite a fun little interaction there. She just kind of struggled to give much of an answer. And, when she said something about not particularly liking girls or whatever, Miyako's reaction to that was pretty funny. And then she tried to, damage control, clarify, and then, it was pretty fun to watch all of that. I think the gist of it was the fact that she's not really, super interested in girls. It's just that she's just so special that gender doesn't matter. I think that's what she was trying to say. I've read some Yuri manga and stuff before that I've had kind of that idea. I don't like, it's not that I like girls, I like you, that sort of thing. That may have been what she was trying to say. I don't know, but she kind of gave up after a while and just kind of just left, but it was funny. It was all pretty fun interaction. And then you had you and Koyomi, who were still very much working on the script, also the title as well, because Koyomi's obviously been struggling with that for a while. Way back, several episodes ago, she basically said, well, I don't have a title for this, so, well, there you go. So it's nice that we finally got one at the end of the episode. But they definitely were working on the script. It meant that it meant that you would have a lot more lines, which is cool, because her role wasn't that important before. But it did increase in importance there, which is nice. And then you had, a couple other people from the student council show up, Nanami and Sayaka. And they just, sat there as well. Pretty much talking about things, various things, and the little bit of back and forth we had between Sayaka and Miyako was interesting. Just neither of them really said much to each other, but there was something there that was very much fun to watch. But yeah, Sayaka actually tried to ask Nanami about her sister. I don't know how well that really went. It was very awkward initially, but we didn't get to see whether or not she actually said anything about it because it just kind of hard cut and they just left each other. So it's questionable how well that really went. But we had a very interesting scene of Nanami just kind of walking away. And like a hand reaching out from Sayaka to her. That was a little bit weird. Wasn't completely sure how to take that, but we had a repeated thing with that later on between you and Nanami. But I'm not sure exactly how to interpret that. I'm trying to think about it, but unless it's just a matter of she's just like, it's supposed to be a matter of accepting that she's not the one for Nanami. She's not the one that Nanami wants to be with, and that was kind of the peak of that idea. I don't know. I'm trying to make some sense of that, but the point is she did walk away from her. And the rest of the episode was pretty much just you and Nanami together having happy, fun date times, which was great to see. They went to the aquarium, got to see lots of cool stuff, fishies and dolphins and penguins probably, and it was great, especially when they went to see the dolphin show, and they were like, hey, there's tons of seats here, why isn't nobody sitting here? What's the problem? These aren't reserved or anything, are they? Oh, those are the splash zone seats, if you sit there, you'll get soaked from head to toe. What? Don't be silly, not from head to toe, that's ridiculous. Hey, Nanami, want to get some, something to put over us so we don't get too wet? Sure, why not? Like, oh my god, we really did get splashed from head to toe. That's crazy. Wow, I wish somebody had warned me. That whole thing was kind of funny. Honestly, overall, it was a very nice date scene. I really appreciated pretty much all of it, really. A lot of great stuff, buying little gifts and knickknacks and stuff, and just all around having a good time, sitting at the table, talking about love and all that, and, it's the usual kind of conversations that they have. But they eventually started to talk about what, they actually started to, practice for the play, pretty much, which, that's always been a very fun thing, because you never know when the line between play, script reading, and actually trying to talk to Nanami and help her, those intersect and cross a lot, so you really don't know where that line is because the audience doesn't know what the script is, so it's always very interesting, those scenes, as a result of that. And this scene was definitely a good example of that. Because, yeah, it's basically a matter of saying, hey, Nanami, you don't have to just do what you think your sister did. You can just live for yourself, It's basically the idea we're trying to get across from her. And that was a big thing with the episode as well, talking about what she would do after the whole stage thing is over with. What she would do. I do think they were trying to heavily imply that she was considering suicide as an option. She talked about how she would rather die than give up on what she was doing before, way back during the stone skipping scene. And then we got to see her nearby trains and stuff driving by. They were trying to imply that quite clearly. But hopefully that's not actually the case. You can actually get her to open her eyes and see what a life beyond this whole sister emulation arc of hers, there is a path beyond that. And it's pretty much Yu's job to get her to see that. And I think she's been making pretty good progress on that, throughout the show and this episode in particular. Because we even talked about some of that stuff, at the little dinner table date scene bit there. But yeah, and then we just kind of finished off our date, enjoying it, having lots of fun. But yeah, that pretty much was the episode. It was a really good episode, but it didn't quite feel like a finale episode to me. Mostly because we didn't actually get to see the stage play, which I was, for a while, was convinced that's what would be in the last episode, you know? And then you would you know, take a step past that arc of hers and, you know, just look forward to the future of herself, not any kind of game of pretend. But it didn't have that, which is, once I realized that around the, I don't know, 19-minute mark of the episode, give or take, once I realized that, I was like, wow, that's a little bit weird, you know? That seemed like it would be a really good stopping spot. You know, obviously the manga is still ongoing, of course, but I thought that would be a pretty good stopping point, so it's a little bit surprising that they didn't do that. Like, I don't know, it just seemed like a very awkward spot to end off on, since nothing was really truly resolved. I mean, they obviously talked a little bit about Nanami's issues there at the end there during the play practice, sure, but I don't know how much that really got through to her. I don't know. I'm really not sure how I feel about that, but I don't think this really felt like a final episode. I think they could have done a bit better, personally, but, you know. I probably have a bit of a better perspective on this if I had read the manga. Maybe I could make some more comments about how they could have done it to make it a bit more, not climactic, you know, conclusive. But since I did not, I can't really do that. But as the episode itself, it was good, though. It was very much a good episode with very nice dates. And, you know, at least it showed us little glimpses of all the side characters before it ended it off. You know, that made it feel a bit more like a final episode, right? But, yeah, so, my thoughts on the show as a whole. Whew. Well, this is a Yuri anime. That's why I decided to watch it. You know, I very much enjoy Yuri anime. I'm not the biggest fan of romance anime, but Yuri is and always has been a big exception for me for that. I'm not exactly sure why, but it just is. And, you know, I watched the first episode, and it didn't really get me on board with the show right away. There was a lot of little things that bugged me about it that wouldn't be a big deal by themselves, but they just kind of compounded. You know, the fact that the first episode seemed to focus more on, you know, the guys pursuing our main girls and having to deal with that before we could actually get into the Yuri romance, you know, that kind of bugged me a little bit. The fact that it took place at a co-ed school as opposed to an all-girls school, which I know some people think that's a good thing. I'm just not one of those people. I prefer my Yuri to be in an all-girls setting, you know, for the most part. Like there can be male teachers or whatever, you know, random males on the streets, but the school itself, I prefer to be an all-girls school. I feel like that has the best chance to really have, you know, truly a blossom, you know, a Yuri garden, you know. Not a really good way to, don't really know how to phrase what I'm trying to say all that well, but it's just kind of my preference on that. And yes, I realize that's very subjective. I wouldn't really consider that to be a big strike against the show, which is something that made it a little bit more difficult for me to latch my hands into it initially. That's all I'm really trying to say. Also, it felt a little bit slower paced than I would have liked, you know. Also, with I think there was a couple of things that bugged me that I'm trying to remember. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, I also compared it a little bit to Citrus because that was, like, the last big Yuri anime I had seen before this, you know? So despite I not really meaning to, I did kind of compare it a little bit to that. You know, the show where we got some girl-on-girl making out the first episode, which a Yuri anime does not have to have that, of course, you know? I'm not saying it does, but it just, a very big difference there. And just, the slowness of it, I guess, is really my biggest complaint of the first episode. But, you know, it didn't turn me off of the show completely, you know, it certainly didn't, so I kept watching it. And the more I watched it, the more the show kind of started to open up for me. I started to see exactly the kind of show that I'm watching, you know, what I can expect from it, how things are going to develop, the main real meat of the show, which, you know, the main meat of the show was Nanami and her sister issues. That was basically the main conflict of the show, at least for the first season. And her issues with that basically gives her a very warped sense of a lot of things, mostly love, and meaning you, who's in love with her but wasn't in love with her initially, she would have to try to overcome that, you know, and if she wanted to end up in any kind of serious romantic relationship with Nanami. And yeah, that was always a big thing with the show, you know, the dance of both of their feelings, basically trying to dance around each other without actually bumping into each other and crashing. That dynamic there was really the real essence of the show, which definitely led to some pretty interesting stuff. And, you know, both characters, Nanami and Yu, were very much both likable, and I enjoyed pretty much all their interactions together, really. They were both very fun characters. Yu is very much a very good person, but not like One thing I thought was interesting about you is that she definitely came across as a very nice, good person without feeling like a goody two shoes type character. You know, like I'm sure you've seen plenty of those in anime. She didn't really feel like that though, so felt like a realistic, you know, good person. Like if that makes sense at all. That's kind of one thing I liked about her. And Nanami, obviously, initially she came across as a student council, you know, I don't want to say Mary Sue character, but, you know, she was kind of that kind of character, and then they opened up the window on her to show you that, no, she's not actually as perfect as she seems. She's putting on a facade, and this is all the deep internal, you know, trauma stuff that she has to deal with, you know, and this is just kind of a mask that she wears and all that stuff. So they managed to make both of the main girls pretty interesting because of that. And it was all pretty good stuff to see. Obviously, there were some side characters I didn't really get much focus at all, like Akari. I mean, I think very early on she got a bit more screen time than later on, but yeah, eventually characters like Akari had like nothing, really. The only reason Koyomi had a decent amount of screen time is because she was writing the script for the club for student council. But Akari, yeah, she really had no real relevance at all beyond the first episode or two, you know. I think she had some sort of romance thing going on with a guy trying to pursue that, but there was very little time actually dedicated to that. And Maki, the thing they did with Maki was interesting. Obviously, and a lot of people kind of jumped to conclusions with Maki, you know, trying to assume the worst with that character. But he turned out to be a pretty cool guy, but still didn't really get maybe quite as much screen time as I was expecting with what they did with him initially. You know, once he had that scene where he talked to you about his perspective on things, you know, what he likes, what he wants to do, how he wants to be supportive of the relationship because that's what he likes. He just likes watching, you know, relationships. I kind of expected he would have a bit more plot relevance after that, but actually less than I expected, really. That's the, you know, I wouldn't say that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I could have taken or left that whole idea. But it was just something that surprised me a little bit, personally. You know, maybe in the future he'll do a bit more, but, you know, because he did a little bit. I mean, I'm not trying to say he didn't, I just expected a little bit more, personally. But yeah, Sayaka, as far as characters that kind of really shook things up as far as you and Nanami's relationship goes, Sayaka was probably the one that did that the most, because she obviously has a thing for Nanami. We even got some heavy backstory on her, which was also very interesting stuff about the school she went to, how a girl kind of got her on the path of Yuri, and then kind of she left that path and then just awkwardly left Sayaka on the path, and then she just, you know, kept on that path. And that was a really cool subplot about her, which eventually got resolved with her being able to talk with that girl later on and try to tell her that, no, you did not ruin my life or anything, you know, I'm perfectly happy. You know, I really like what they did with that whole stuff, and Sayaka has always consistently been very much a character to spice things up as far as, you know, their relationship goes. Because, like I said, she likes Nanami, and Yu likes Nanami, so a little bit of a love triangle there, but realistically, Sayaka's never had too much of a chance, but you know, she has always been a very good friend and done a lot to really help Nanami out. Even in this episode, be doing her best to be as supportive as she can for her, even though she knows nothing's ever going to come of that. But yeah, she was a pretty cool character that I'm glad was in the show. Sayaka might have been my favorite side character. You know, I'm not sure if it's even fair to call her a side character, but, you know, she is listed as a supporting character on MyAnimeLIst, so I think it's fine. And that's a good name. That's a good word for it, too, supporting, because that's kind of what she did. And yeah, the dynamic when they went to the training camp, the three of them, you know, that whole thing, like, good thing, you know, What's-Her-Face is here, otherwise who knows what would happen, you know, the three-way thing they had going on there was also quite funny. But yeah, this pretty much was, you know, pure romance anime for the most part, you know, it's not a comedy anime or anything like that, it was basically just, that's pretty much what the whole show was about, just, you know, romance, which, you know, that's fine, that's what it's about, but you know, it did have a little bit of comedy here and there, a little bit of funny moments, cute moments. But I don't really know much to really say on it beyond that, though. Let's see. Do we have much more to comment on? It was a pretty well-written show for the most part. Like I said, I've already commented on this a couple times, but I do like what they did with the stage play and how it parallels Nanami's situation. I thought that was really cool. Probably my favorite thing about the show, really, was how they were able to do that. And one of my favorite scenes was probably still the whole stone skipping scene, like way back in episode, I have no idea when that was. I want to say like episode 4 or 5. But yeah, that was a really good scene, probably one of the highlights of the show. But yeah, the actual Yuri bits, you know, bits between Nanami and Yu were always very much good to watch. I mean, I would have preferred a bit more of that, honestly. But, you know, we still obviously are trying to get past Nanami's personal issues, and once we do fully get past that, I could see them having a bit more of that once it became a bit more of a normal relationship. Maybe a bit more could happen from that. But yeah, I still was pretty happy with what I got. I just would have liked more in that realm of things. But overall, I would say this was a very good show, a very solid Yuri anime. I definitely think thought it was worth watching. And hopefully it gets to season 2. The way it ended, I really hope it gets to season 2. Maybe it has to catch up. Maybe the manga has to catch up for that to be viable. No idea, but with the way it ended, it kind of needs a season 2, let's be honest. If it doesn't have a season 2, that's going to be a big knock against the series because it wasn't a very good final episode as a final episode, so it really needs a season 2 if it wants to, be a good show, basically. But, yeah. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to Cnouki for supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you consider clicking the like button and leaving a comment, because that's a great and easy way to let me know that people want more. If you want to do something big to help the channel, you can support me on Patreon and get nice benefits like early access to certain videos. See you next time.